Hi everybody! Don't toss your empty glass bottles away when you can turn them into beautiful home decor with a little craft paint. Painted bottles make a perfect vase or centerpiece. So let's get started, guys. I am beginning with the images I want to emboss onto my bottle. You can keep your images simple and to your liking. I personally have a soft corner towards cats, and therefore here I have traced two cats and I am retracing them to make them nice and plump to my liking. So next I have some old magazines here and I will be browsing through them to hunt for a particular color or a pattern that catches my eye. And as you can see, I have stopped at a page that has a crossword puzzle, and immediately I feel that this would look unique for the body of my cats. So I am using a carbon paper here to transfer the image onto the crossword puzzle to get the exact shape and size I will be using for my bottle. Now keep in mind that the image that you are drawing or you're tracing is in tune with the size of your bottle. Because I'll be using a fairly large bottle here, my images are slightly bigger. But when you are embossing it on a smaller bottle, make sure that the size is in tune with the size of the bottle. So here you can see that I'm tracing the image using a pencil, and ta-da! The image has been successfully embossed onto the crossword puzzle. That's one cat down and one to go. So now I will be browsing through another similar kind of magazine to see if I can get a crossword puzzle, and here we go, we finally got one. Now this will be the base of my second cat. I will be following the exact same technique using a carbon paper and a pencil. I will be outlining the image onto the crossword puzzle. Now both my images have been embossed onto the two crossword puzzles. At this point of time it doesn't look very clear, which is why I will be cutting this out and showing you how the end result will be. So let's get cutting, and very soon you will be seeing both cats side by side. So guys, here are my two cats looking very cute and unique in their crossword design. Next we will be prepping our bottle, and here you can see my bottle is quite big, which is why I told you initially, make sure that the image you're going to emboss onto your bottle is in tune with the size of the bottle. Here I have some homemade gesso paste. You can buy this from the store as well, but I had the materials at home, so I decided to prepare my own gesso paste because this was quite practical. And I have a small container as well. Now you can directly apply the color of paint you want to onto your bottle, but the reason why I use gesso paste is because it keeps the paint from coming off or peeling off the bottle. So always use a primer on your bottle before applying the actual paint, because it keeps the paint from peeling off. Now I'm using homemade sponge. You can also use a paintbrush, but I like using a sponge because it gives me that textured look. So if you look closely, you can see how using a sponge is giving it a more textured look as opposed to the paint strokes you get from using a paintbrush. I personally prefer using a sponge to a paintbrush while working on my bottles. I will be covering the bottle with maybe 1 or 2 coats of gesso, and I will be letting it out to dry in the sun naturally, and it won't take long, hardly 10 to 15 minutes. So guys, I will be seeing you after the bottle is dry. Hey guys! Now our bottle is completely dry. As you can see, instead of the straight strokes of a paintbrush, it has a more textured look because we used a sponge. Now it is up to you to decide whether you want to keep the background white. In this case, I suggest you add just a layer of white acrylic paint to make it brighter. I will, however, be using a pastel shade over the white base so that there is a pop of color. Feel free to choose whatever colors you like in whatever patterns and shades you wish for. I don't think I have worked with orange yet in any of my bottle craft, so I'll be using orange and white as my base color. You may end up with a lot of paint on your hands, but then that is just part of the fun. So just go along with it. So here I'm mixing both paints using a paintbrush. You can keep adding the paint in random order to make sure you reach the shade that you want to work with. And here I think I have reached what I'm looking for, and I will be using a sponge to dab this onto the bottle. I'm using the same technique I used while dabbing gesso onto the bottle, so there is no confusion. There are no two methods here. I'm using the same method, and you can see that the coverage is more. You don't have to use as much paint as you use while you're using a paintbrush. The coverage is pretty quick and pretty easy, and I am liking the shade of orange that I'm using here. There you go, guys. Now that is dry as well. I plan to keep the design of my bottle very simple. I'm leaning towards the most summery vibes today, now that the rains have pretty much stopped in this part of the world and the sun is out practically shining brightly all throughout the day. So the colors I'm leaning towards today are orange and red. So instead of keeping my bottle monotone, that is one tone, I decided to give two shades of orange on either halves of the bottle. So the lower half is a lighter shade of orange and the upper half is going to be a little bit more darker shade of orange. So guys, there you have it. My bottle is now two shades of orange. The bottom half is a lighter shade and the top half is a little bit more darker. Now it is time for us to emboss the image onto the bottle, and for this I'm going to use the method of decoupage. Decoupage is when you emboss an image onto the bottle or onto glass using a very thin layer of diluted glue. So for this I'm taking a little bit of Fevicol into my container, adding a little bit of water so that it becomes somewhat runny but not too runny. Now by adding water to the Fevicol, it gives us that perfect consistency that we can use to glue the image onto the bottle. Now I'm pretty happy with this consistency. Now I will be using this to stick my image. Get your bottle that's all dried up and ready and see where you have maybe a little bit of imperfection. I have spotted it on my bottle, so I'll be using those images to cover up that imperfection. So I will be taking the image of my cats and seeing how I want to place them onto my bottle. And I guess I pretty much have an idea now. Yeah, so that looks pretty good to me. And now the method is very simple. All you have to do is apply the diluted mixture of glue and water to the image and just stick it onto the bottle. And you can run your brush gently over the image as well so that the image is secured onto the bottle. Sometimes what happens is if you glue just the bottom, parts of the image may stick up here and there, and we don't want that. So to ensure that the entire image is secured onto the bottle, you can glue the outside as well. So basically this is the process of embossing or decoupage as we call it in the craft world. But this is fairly a very easy method for those who find it very difficult to draw or find it challenging to draw an image onto a bottle. Just trace out an image onto a thin sheet of paper and then you can just stick it onto your bottle using thinned glue. So my first cat has been embossed onto the bottle. Now it is the turn of my second cat. And there you go, I'm following the same technique. Now you can see there, this is what I was saying. I had applied glue on the bottom, but the thing is sometimes it does not stick as per our wishes. So the easiest way to make sure that it sticks is to apply glue on the top as well. And basically that's it. That is the entire process of embossing my two cats onto the bottle with very minimum effort and very minimum materials. Now this idea kind of struck me when I was working on the bottle, and I've got leftovers of my crossword puzzle, so I thought why not use it to decorate my bottle in a very simple manner. So I will be sort of trying to make it into a bow pattern that will run all around my bottle. And so guys, I'll see you after the bottle is complete. So guys, here is my final look. I've decided to add a little bit of embellishment, and you can see there, put some hearts, glitter hearts. The bottom looked a little plain, so I cut out the word love from a scrapbook paper I had and I stuck it there. You can see the bow effect, and I've added some beads to the center. So you can see it's a very simple look, but then it's a very cute look. And at the end of everything, once your bottle is dry, the glue has dried, please make sure that you apply varnish on your bottles so that the paint is long lasting and it doesn't peel off. And the good thing about varnish is that once your varnish is dry on your bottle, you can clean your bottle with a damp cloth from time to time to get rid of any dust on it. So guys, here is the final outcome. I hope you understood that you really don't need a lot of materials, nor do you need expensive stuff to create something beautiful for your home. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for coming on this creative journey with me. Till we meet again, stay safe and be happy. Bye.